Hi guys, Sam from Manfa's Makes. Happy Sunday! Welcome back to all my returners and hi to any newbies. This is the segment of my channel where I read you some stories from Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. Normally I get through about 2 or 3, so let's see how it goes. Make sure you have a drink and make sure that you have a project to work on as you listen. Just a quick disclaimer. Any themes, opinions, or morals of these stories are not necessarily shared or agreed to by me. I am literally just reading the words of the author as they are written. Okay, guys, so let's get started. We are on story 28, The Singing Bone. In a certain country there was once great lamentation over a wild boar that ravaged the farmers' fields, killed the cattle, and ripped up people's bodies with his tusks. The king promised a large reward to anyone who would free the land from this plague, but the beast was so big and strong that no one dared to go near the forest in which it lived. At last the king gave notice that whoever should capture or kill the wild boar should have his only daughter as wife. Now there lived in the country 2 brothers, sons of a poor man, who declared themselves willing to undertake the hazardous enterprise. The elder, who was crafty and shrewd out of pride, the younger, who was innocent and simple from a kind heart. The king said, "In order to be sure of finding the beast, you must go into the forest from opposite sides." So the elder went in on the west side and the younger on the east. When the younger had gone a short way, a little man stepped up to him. He held in his hand a black spear and said, "I give you this spear because your heart is pure and good. With this you can boldly attack the wild boar and it will do you no harm." He thanked the little man, shouldered the spear, and went on fearlessly. Before long he saw the beast, which rushed at him, but he held the spear towards it, and in its blind fury it ran so swiftly against it that its heart was cut in 2. Then he took the monster on his back and went homewards with it to the king. As he came out at the other side of the wood, there stood at the entrance a house where people were making merry with wine and dancing. His elder brother had gone in here, and thinking that after all the boar would not run away, was going to drink until he felt brave. But when he saw his young brother coming out of the wood laden with his booty, his envious evil heart gave him no peace. He called out to him, "Come in, dear brother, rest and refresh yourself with a cup of wine." The youth, who suspected no evil, went in and told him about the good little man who had given him the spear with which he had slain the boar. The elder brother kept him there until the evening, and then they went away together, and when in the darkness they came to a bridge over a brook, the elder brother let the other go first, and when he was halfway across he gave him such a blow from behind that he fell down dead. He buried him beneath the bridge, took the boar and carried it to the king, pretending that he had killed it, whereupon he obtained the king's daughter in marriage. And when his younger brother did not come back, he said the boar must have killed him, and everyone believed it. But as nothing remains hidden from God, this black deed was to come to light. Years afterwards a shepherd was driving his herd across the bridge and saw lying in the sand beneath a snow-white little bone. He thought that it would make a good mouthpiece, so he clambered down, picked it up and cut out of it a mouthpiece for his horn. But when he blew through it for the first time, to his great astonishment the bone began of its own accord to sing. "Ah, friend, you blow upon my bone, long have I lain beside the water. My brother slew me for the boar, and took for his wife the king's young daughter." "What a wonderful horn," said the shepherd. "It sings by itself. I must take it to my lord the king." And when he came with it to the king, the horn again began to sing its little song. The king understood it all, and ordered the ground below the bridge to be dug up, and then the whole skeleton of the murdered man came to light. The wicked brother could not deny the deed, and was sewn up in a sack and drowned. But the bones of the murdered man were laid to rest in a beautiful tomb in the churchyard. Okay, story 29, The Devil with the 3 Golden Hairs. There was once a poor woman who gave birth to a little son, and as he came into the world with a caul on, it was predicted that in his 14th year he would have the king's daughter for his wife. It happened that soon afterwards the king came into the village, and no one knew he was the king, and when he asked the people what news there was, they answered, "A child has just been born with a caul on. Whatever he undertakes in life, he will turn out well. It is prophesied too that in his 14th year he will have the king's daughter for his wife. The king, who had a bad heart and was angry about the prophecy, went to the parents and seeming quite friendly, said, "You poor people, let me have your child and I will take care of it." At first they refused, but when the stranger offered them a large amount of gold for it, and they thought, "It is a luck child, and everything must turn out well for it," they at last consented and gave him the child. The king put it in a box and rode away with it until he came to a deep piece of water. Then he threw the box into it and thought, "I have freed my daughter from her unlooked-for suitor." The box, however, did not sink, but floated like a boat, and not a drop of water made its way into it. And it floated to within 2 miles of the king's chief city, where there was a mill, and it came to a standstill at the mill dam. A miller's boy, who by good luck was standing there, noticed it and pulled it out with a hook, thinking that he had found a great treasure, but when he opened it, there lay a pretty boy inside, quite fresh and lively. He took him to the miller and his wife, and as they had no children, they were glad and said, "God has given him to us." They took great care of the foundling, and he grew up in all goodness. It happened that once in a storm the king went into the mill, and he asked the miller and his wife if the tall youth was their son. "No," answered they, "he's a foundling. 14 years ago he floated down to the mill dam in a box, and the mill boy pulled him out of the water." Then the king knew that it was none other than the luck child which he had thrown into the water, and he said, "My good people, could not the youth take a letter to the queen? I will give him 2 gold pieces as a reward." "Just as the king commands," answered they, and they told the boy to get ready. Then the king wrote a letter to the queen, in which he said, "As soon as the boy arrives with this letter, let him be killed and buried, and all must be done before I come home." The boy set out with this letter, but he lost his way, and in the evening came to a large forest. In the darkness he saw a small light. He went towards it and reached a cottage. When he went in, an old woman was sitting by the fire quite alone. She started when she saw the boy, and said, "From where do you come, and where are you going?" "I come from the mill," he answered, "and wish to go to the queen, to whom I am taking a letter, but as I have lost my way in the forest, I should like to stay here overnight." "You poor boy," said the woman, "you have come into a den of thieves, and when they come home they will kill you." "Let them come," said the boy, "I am not afraid, but I am so tired that I cannot go any farther," and he stretched himself upon a bench and fell asleep. Soon afterwards the robbers came and angrily asked what strange boy was lying there. "Ah," said the old woman, "it is an innocent child who has lost himself in the forest, and out of pity I have let him come in. He has to take a letter to the queen." The robbers opened the letter and read it, and in it was written that as soon as he arrived the boy should be put to death. Then the hard-hearted robbers felt pity, and their leader tore up the letter and wrote another, saying that as soon as the boy came he should be married at once to the king's daughter. Then they let him lie quietly on the bench until the next morning, and when he awoke they gave him the letter and showed him the right way. And the queen, when she had received the letter and read it, did as was written in it, and had a splendid wedding feast prepared, and the king's daughter was married to the luck child. And as the youth was handsome and agreeable, she lived with him in joy and contentment. After some time the king returned to his palace and saw that the prophecy was fulfilled, and the luck child married to his daughter. "How has that come to pass?" said he. "I gave quite another order in my letter." So the queen gave him the letter and said that he might see for himself what was written in it. The king read the letter and saw quite well that it had been exchanged for the other. He asked the youth what had become of the letter entrusted to him, and why he had brought another instead of it. "I know nothing about it," answered he. "It must have been changed in the night when I slept in the forest." The king said in a passion, "You shall not have everything quite so much your own way. Whoever marries my daughter must fetch me from hell 3 golden hairs from the head of the devil. Bring me what I want, and you shall keep my daughter." In this way the king hoped to be rid of him forever, but the luck child answered, "I will fetch the golden hairs. I am not afraid of the devil." Thereupon he took leave of them and began his journey. The road led him to a large town, where the watchman by the gates asked him what his trade was and what he knew. "I know everything," answered the luck child. "Then you can do us a favour," said the watchman, "if you will tell us why our marketplace's fountain which once flowed with wine has become dry and no longer gives out even water." "That you shall know," answered he, "only wait until I come back." Then he went further and came to another town, and there also the gatekeeper asked him what was his trade and what he knew. I know everything, answered he. Then you can do us a favour and tell us why a tree in our town which once bore golden apples now does not even put forth leaves. You shall know that, answered he, only wait until I come back. Then he went on and came to a wide river over which he must go. The ferryman asked him what his trade was and what he knew. I know everything, answered he. Then you can do me a favour, said the ferryman, and tell me why I must always be rowing backwards and forwards, and no one comes to relieve me. You shall know that, answered he, only wait until I come back. When he had crossed the water, he found the entrance to hell. It was black and sooty within, and the devil was not at home, but his grandmother was sitting in a large armchair. What do you want, said she to him, but she did not look so very wicked. I should like to have 3 golden hairs from the devil's head, answered he, else I cannot keep my wife. That is a good deal to ask for, said she. If the devil comes home and finds you, it will cost you your life, but as I pity you, I will see if I cannot help you. She changed him into an ant and said, creep into the folds of my dress, you will be safe there. Yes, answered he, so far so good, but there are 3 things besides that I want to know. Why a fountain which once flowed with wine has become dry and no longer gives even water. Why a tree which once bore golden apples does not even put forth leaves, and why a ferryman must always be going backwards and forwards and is never set free. Those are difficult questions, answered she, but only be silent and quiet and pay attention to what the devil says when I pull out the 3 golden hairs. As evening came, the devil returned home. No sooner had he entered than he noticed that the air was not pure. I smell man's flesh, said he. All is not right here. Then he pried into every corner and searched, but could not find anything. His grandmother scolded him. It has just been swept, said she, and everything put in order, and now you are upsetting it again. You have always got man's flesh in your nose. Sit down and eat your supper. When he had eaten and drunk, he was tired, and laid his head in his grandmother's lap, and before long he was fast asleep, snoring and breathing heavily. Then the old woman took hold of a golden hair, pulled it out, and laid it down near her. Oh, cried the devil, what are you doing? I have had a bad dream, answered the grandmother, so I seized hold of your hair. What did you dream then? Said the devil. I dreamed that a fountain in a marketplace, from which wine once flowed, was dried up, and not even water would flow out of it. What could be the cause of it? Oh ho, if they did but know it, answered the devil. There is a toad sitting under a stone in the well. If they killed it, the wine would flow again. He went to sleep again and snored until the window shook. Then she pulled the second hair out. Ouch! What are you doing? Cried the devil angrily. Do not get angry, said she. I did it in a dream. What have you dreamt this time? Asked he. I dreamt that in a certain kingdom there stood an apple tree which had once borne golden apples, but now would not even bear leaves. What do you think was the reason? Oh, if they did but know, answered the devil. A mouse is gnawing at the root. If they killed this, they would have golden apples again. But if it gnaws much longer, the tree will wither altogether. But leave me alone with your dreams. If you disturb me in my sleep again, you will get a slap on the ear. The grandmother spoke gently to him until he fell asleep again and snored. Then she took hold of the 3rd golden hair and pulled it out. The devil jumped up, roared out, and would have treated her ill if she had not quieted him once more and said, Who can help bad dreams? What was the dream then? Asked he, and was quite curious. I dreamt of a ferryman who complained that he must always ferry from one side to the other and was never released. What is the cause of it? Ah, the fool, answered the devil. When anyone comes and wants to go across, he must put the oar in his hand, and the other man will have to ferry, and he will be free. As the grandmother had plucked out the 3 golden hairs and the 3 questions were answered, she let the old serpent alone, and he slept until daybreak. When the devil had gone out again, the old woman took the ant out of the folds of her dress and gave the luck child his human shape again. There are the 3 golden hairs for you, said she. What the devil said to your 3 questions I suppose you heard. Yes, answered he, I heard, and will take care to remember. You have what you want, said she, and now you can go on your way. He thanked the old woman for helping him in his need, and left hell well content that everything had turned out so fortunately. When he came to the ferryman, he was expected to give the promised answer. Ferry me across first, said the luck child, and then I will tell you how you can be set free. and when he reached the opposite shore he gave him the devil's advice. Next time anyone comes who wants to be ferried over, just put the oar in his hand. He went on and came to the town where the unfruitful tree stood, and there too the watchman wanted an answer. So he told him what he had heard from the devil. Kill the mouse which is gnawing at its root, and it will again bear golden apples. Then the watchman thanked him and gave him as a reward 2 asses laden with gold, which followed him. At last he came to the town whose well was dry. He told the watchman what the devil had said. A toad is in the well beneath a stone. You must find it and kill it, and the well will again give wine in plenty. The watchman thanked him and also gave him 2 asses laden with gold. At last the luck child got home to his wife, who was heartily glad to see him again and to hear how well he had prospered in everything. To the king he took what he had asked for, the devil's 3 golden hairs, and when the king saw the 4 asses laden with golden, he was quite content and said, "Now all the conditions are fulfilled and you can keep my daughter. But tell me, dear son-in-law, where did all that gold come from? This is tremendous wealth." "It was rowed across the river," answered he, "and got it there. The shore is made of gold instead of sand." "Can I too fetch some of it?" said the king, and he was quite eager about it. "As much as you like," answered he. "There is a ferryman on the river. Let him ferry you over, and you can fill your sacks on the other side." The greedy king set out in all haste, and when he came to the river he beckoned to the ferryman to put him across. The ferryman came and bade him get in, and when they got to the other shore he put the oar in his hand and sprang out. But from this time forth the king had to ferry as a punishment for his sins. Perhaps he is ferrying still. If he is, it is because no one has taken the oar from him. Okay, just have a quick sip of my drink, guys. Right, last one for today is story 30, and it's called The Louse and the Flea. A louse and a flea kept house together and were brewing beer in an eggshell. Then the little louse fell in and burnt herself. At this the little flea began to scream loudly. Then said the little door, "Little flea, why are you screaming?" "Because the louse has burnt herself." Then the little door began to creak. At this a little broom in the corner said, "Why are you creaking, little door?" "Have I not reason to creak? The little louse has burnt herself, the little flea is weeping." So the little broom began to sweep frantically. Then a little cart passed by and said, "Why are you sweeping, little broom?" "Have I not reason to sweep? The little louse has burnt herself, the little flea is weeping, the little door is creaking." So the little cart said, "Then I will run," and began to run wildly. Then said the garbage heap by which it ran, "Why are you running so, little cart?" "Have I not reason to run? The little louse has burnt herself, the little flea is weeping, the little door is creaking, the little broom is sweeping." The garbage heap said, "Then I will burn furiously," and began to burn in clear flames. A little tree stood near the heap and said, "Garbage heap, why are you burning? Have I not reason to burn? The little louse has burnt herself, the little flea is weeping, the little door is creaking, the little broom is sweeping, the little cart is running." The little tree said, "Then I will shake myself," and began to shake herself so that all her leaves fell off. A girl who came up with her water pitcher saw that and said, "Little tree, why are you shaking yourself?" "Have I not reason to shake myself? The little louse has burnt herself, the little flea is weeping, the little door is creaking, the little broom is sweeping, the little cart is running, the little heap is burning." At this the girl said, "Then I will break my little water pitcher," and she broke her little water pitcher. Then she said the little spring from which ran the water, "Girl, why are you breaking your water jug?" "Have I not reason to break my water jug? The little louse has burnt herself, the little flea is weeping, the little door is creaking, the little broom is sweeping, the little cart is running, the little heap is burning, the little tree is shaking itself." "Oh ho," said the spring, "then I will begin to flow," and began to flow violently. And in the water everything was drowned, the girl, the little tree, the little garbage heap, the little cart, the little broom, the little door, the little flea, the little louse, all together. Well, that was a little bit of a strange story. But anyway, guys, we are going to leave it there for today. I really do hope your Sunday is going absolutely marvellously. I really do enjoy a weekend. I hope you're enjoying yours too. I hope you enjoyed those stories. The last one was a little strange, but can't like them all. Anyway, guys, until next time, stay safe, be kind, look after one another, get some good quality time in with your loved ones, and get some good quality crafty time in. And I'll see you in the next one or around the YouTube streets. Love you guys. Bye.